Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, I see that some of you have joined me. I'm going to flip the camera around in just a moment. If you can just say something or say hello to me, I would appreciate that. I'm Chris Roebuck, just in case you do not know who I am. Hello, Mr. Giles. How are you today, sir? Thank you so much for joining me today. Preacher Jamie Stokes, thank you for being there. I'm going to flip this camera around. Hopefully you can see me. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mr. Giles and Preacher Jamie Stokes. You can invite your friends. This is going to be a short broadcast. And this has been on my heart this week about living paycheck to paycheck and just so many people. And actually, the statistics are startling. And this is another reason why I really want to talk about. Thank you, Mrs. Melvin. I appreciate you joining. I really wanted to talk about living paycheck to paycheck because 76% of Americans do. So just in case that hey, Mrs. Melvin, that would be Kim. Hey, Auntie. Thank you for joining me today. And I know that you all have co-workers, you have friends, you have family, you have church family who lives paycheck to paycheck. 76% of American families are living paycheck to paycheck. So what does that mean? That means that somebody in your neighborhood, maybe they may not have enough money to pay their light bill. They may not have enough money to buy food, or they may have very little money left over after they are paid, and they actually, I'm sorry, just 1 second, something's happening here. Okay, and they probably, the families that I'm speaking of that are living paycheck to paycheck, after they have paid their bills, they have very little money left over. There was some other statistics that I wanted to share too. It was 1,000 people that were surveyed. Out of that 1,000 people that were surveyed, 22% of those 1,000 individuals said that they had less than $100 in their savings account. That is an issue for me. I mean, that's pretty sad. 22% of the 1,000 people that were surveyed, CNN Money did this survey, and they said that 22% of individuals had less than $100, for an emergency, should they have an emergency to happen. And why am I talking about the statistics? And for those of you who will probably come back someone will come on and they'll replay this particular broadcast. I'm Chris Roebuck. I'm the founder and CEO of Live My Life Debt Free, and I spend a lot of my time helping individuals to rise up out of situations that they find themselves in, whether they're overextended or whether they're, in this case, living paycheck to paycheck and finding it very hard to make ends meet. Well, something that I want to say about that is that ends just don't meet. That's why they're ends, number one. And number two, there's always a way, to make things in your household run a little bit smoother. And I want to get back to, and I was just talking about 76% of Americans that live paycheck to paycheck. So that's, that's a huge number of families in this country that actually live that way. And for those of my friends that are in other countries, the percentage is probably higher. The next thing was that when they did this survey, they said that 46% of the 1,000 that were surveyed said that they had less than $800 in their bank account for emergencies. So here are a couple of tips I want to leave with you today, and the reason why I wanted to do this broadcast is, while I may not be able to solve, all of the issues, I wanted you to know that there is something that you can do. And if this is making sense to you, or if these are tips, or excuse me, the survey, the percentages are startling to you, just give me some hearts or something. Let me know that you're out there, and that this is interesting to you. If maybe you already knew this, but that means that somebody that's around you right now, wherever you are, they're having some trouble with managing their daily life. So, I mean, living paycheck to paycheck is difficult. If you're able to maintain and you're able to pay all of your bills and things like that, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's great. But things can be actually even better, or that's good, but things can be great. So the couple of tips I want to leave you with is, and they're very simple, and you'll find out that I have a real unorthodox way of coaching people, with where their finances are concerned. And it's very simple, and it's things that people can do. Number one, just this is simple. Make sure that if you're trying to earn more money, sometimes we tend to not understand that when you're trying to earn more money and you already make enough money to manage your finances, but you have a lot of spending habits that may not be conducive to the lifestyle that you should be living, then that it's a way that you can, curtail that. The way that you can, sit down, make some adjustments, list everything that the way that you actually handle your finances. Ms. Clark, welcome. Sit down and list the way that you all of your bills, the way that you're managing your finances. Know where your money is going. Hello, Marquisa. Thank you so much for joining me today. Sit down and make that list. And if there's something out of the ordinary that you know that you can do without, then you definitely want to start taking action and doing something, about that. You want to stop. If it's going out and buying that Dooney purse, or that Calvin Klein, I don't know, whatever your favorite Michael Kors or whoever it is, Anne Klein, cut back on those things. Those are wants. Those are things that you do not need. I guarantee you will find money in your spending plan someplace, where you can actually start to fund your own emergency fund. So I'm going to challenge each and every one of you while I'm on this particular tip, and then I have one more tip and we're done, is that if you can sit down tonight or on your way home, on your drive, instead of playing that CD or having the radio on, listening to the political rhetoric that's going on right now, turn everything off on your car. Start praying about, where you can actually find, some where you can plug those money leaks. You can find the loopholes. Figure out where your dollar is sliding out without you really realizing where it's going. Your assignment is going to be assign every single dollar. Know where that dollar is going. Don't get legalistic about the 50 cents or whatever, or the 10 cents, but every dollar, I want you to assign every single dollar. You said eating out. Okay, preacher, you need to do something. Okay, but that's very good, because that is a loophole. And for some people, and this was another a story that I read, and it talked about those who have higher paid incomes, and they actually do spend a lot of money eating out. And they admitted that was a place where they could actually cut back on to save money. The next thing is, just one second, I want to pull it down. The next tip is going to be, for you to, I love this quote by Oprah Winfrey. She said that you can have everything, but not all at once. So don't deprive yourself of anything, but do everything in moderation. Even as we are looking at our diets and things like that, and we don't want to, deprive ourselves of let's say, eating that pie or that piece of cake. The same thing with your finances. Don't deprive yourself of spending. That's why years ago, I stopped calling doing, writing a budget. I stopped calling it a budget and I start calling it a spending plan. Now, a lot of other experts, I've found that they're saying the same thing. So you want to make sure that you have, some money set aside for you to spend, because who wants to just write a budget and go, have a very strict regimen and not be able to enjoy life. So that's not what this is all about. What this broadcast is all about is that I want you to know that living paycheck to paycheck is not how you were designed to live. God did not create you to struggle or to just get by. You should, and I should be living an abundant life. Marquisa said amen to that. Yes. I mean, and there's a better way to life than just living paycheck to paycheck. And that you can take action by doing simple things. And these are only two simple tips that I'm leaving with you today. And it's easy. It's nothing that you cannot do. If you know that you are part of the 76%, then I'm talking to you. If you are not, if you're in the 24 percentile, then I'm not talking to you right now, but I will talk to you later. But the 76% of American families live paycheck to paycheck. Let's stop the madness, people. Everybody that's on this broadcast right now, I know that there is a way that you can find ways to plug those loopholes and those money leaks, no matter what it is. If you've got to stop for that I call it $5. If you've got to stop for that every morning, and then you've got to have the, somebody say, but if you got to stop and get that coffee every morning, whether it's 7-Eleven, Starbucks, Panera Bread, wherever it is that you stop every single morning, that's a money leak. That could be part of the reason why you're living paycheck to paycheck. If you're going shopping, you don't really need clothes. You don't really need food. You have food in the refrigerator, it's frozen, but you forgot to take it out. How about using your microwave, put it on high power, or, on defrost, and, and stop making several trips to the grocery store every single day. There are better ways. There are simple tips, simple ways to stop living from paycheck to paycheck. And yes, once you learn how to manage the money that you have, I would say yes, find out how to make more. And I know I lost a lot of people when I said, stop trying to earn more money until you are able to manage the money that you have. Well, I'm sorry that I lost some folks then, but the more you make, however you behave now with your finances, that's how you're going to behave when you earn more money. If you're mismanaging it, you're just going to mismanage more money. So now is the time to take action. Ms. Melvin said, so very true. It's kind of like if you're a mean person and you have little money and you start earning more money, you're going to just be a mean rich person. So it's you just have to just make a decision. Just say it after you get off the phone or today. Just say, hey, look, I don't want to live like this anymore. I've got to stop the madness. And these are two simple tips that I'm going to take with me today and start plugging those. I want to be there when you do preach that, preacher. But I want you to just leave today with these two simple tips that I've given you. And I guarantee you that if you just decide not to stop by that grocery store, if you have food at home, if you stop trying to get a second and third job because you feel like that you need more money to go out and buy more clothes or to go out and purchase another vehicle when you currently have a car that will get you from A to B. If you are part of the 22% that have less than $100 in your account for emergencies, I'm talking to you. If you're part of the 46% of the group that CNN actually did a survey with, 46% that have less than $800 in your account for emergencies. I am talking to you. So the third thing that I want you to do, yes, I'm giving you a third one, is to start, funding your emergency fund. That is a non-negotiable. Every one of you on this broadcast and everybody who replays this broadcast should be funding your emergency fund. Because if you don't have one and you have a tire that blows out on the way home, or if you, have a death in the family, you need and you need an airline ticket and you don't have the money in your bank account, you're going to have to use a credit card or borrow the money. So that isn't the way that you want to go. So that's all I have for you today. And thank you so much. Thank you for the hearts, everyone. Thank you for joining me. And I hope that you will share this broadcast with somebody else, because I know that 76% of American families live paycheck to paycheck, and there is a better way to life than living paycheck to paycheck and really just getting by in every single payday. So have a great day, everyone. I really appreciate you again. Thank you, Marquisa, for being on the broadcast today. Please share this broadcast with someone. And I will talk to you guys probably next week, if not soon.